Headphones in. 1 second. A momento. I'm just coming on. I ain't prepared, huh? Yeah. Wait. Um. Hmm. I gotta check this shit. Huh. Well, I guess it. Wait. Okay, we here. All right. Hey. All right. Look. All right. I know what it is, man. Family law. It's a bitch, man. This is literally dark side. But ain't none of that soft shit, right? I ain't gonna lie. I ain't doing none of that. Ain't none of that at all. We are talking that real shit because this is a deadbeat nightmare, dog. And that's what it is, dog. Fuck it. You know, I'm not we're not doing that professional shit. We gonna tell y'all the laws, we gonna tell y'all what it is. I'm saying it's a Daniel and shit. And we on Daniel to come through because he gonna speak to us and tell us about what it is out here. You feel me? What it really is. Huh? Let me see. 1 second. I gotta find. Gotta switch that shit. I be hopping on this motherfucker, not ready or nothing. You feel me? All right. Mom, while we waiting on me to log in on this bitch, right? Yeah. Uh, how the family law? Like, I don't understand how family law can be so corrupt and just be sliding on everything. It's weird, but it's definitely about that time started speaking up about it and trying to get something, fixed about it. Something resolved. Something gotta get fixed about this shit. Cause if not talking nice is gonna help. Shit. Hey, guess what? You got the product of people talking nice trying to get out of this shit. Like this, I'm really the product. I'm one of the products. One. Remember that. I'm one of the products that's speaking up about this shit and ain't thinking about being professional. Like ain't none of that. I'm not. I ain't with all that other shit. I know where I come from. I know my history. So it's like I'm coming to you calmly. I'm gonna come to y'all calmly. No violence. No violently talking. No none of that. But we gonna come to you like men that know how to talk aggressive without getting aggressive. You feel me? So let me see. Let me say this. This is a man conversation, and the goal for this is to get to the kids or the upcoming generation. If it ain't changed by then, we gonna need y'all to speak to. So it's like that's what it is, man. That's what it is right now, and it is, and that's what we gotta do to change it, man. Cause like you gotta understand, we don't need nobody dying from this shit. Like we don't need nobody committing suicide over this shit. We gotta stop this shit from being what it is, cause it ain't just men committing suicide. Females do it too, but like it ain't as bad as a ratio. So like, we gonna stay focused on the main result of why why we are in the predicament we are today. So shit, let me see. Yeah, but while we waiting, man, I'm gonna show this video right here, dude. While we wait, cause I gotta question this, cause I don't think people really know, but some people probably really know. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Daniel could explain this shit for sure. Straight muted me. How about that? All right. I'll share screen. Hold on 1 second. What's up, Daniel? Hold up 1 second. Hold up. Let me stop sharing. Hold up 1 second. What's up, Daniel?
What up?
You good? You good?
Yep, I'm good. How are you, my man?
I'm cool. I'm cool. Just trying to do some things on here. You feel me?
Yep, I understand. I understand. Trust me.
You know what time it is now, right? You already know, man. What we gonna start with this shit? Cause I want to take this shit on another level, like, cause like I understand people trying to do this shit, but like, I mean, I don't understand. They know, like, I'm from the hood. You feel me? So I'm from the hood. So I'm not with the hood shit, but I know how to talk to the hood people probably. But like, I'm not gonna be like on that motherfucking preaching shit. You feel me?
Yeah,
So, but at the same time, I'm knowing the laws and knowing the shit we need to know to like try to work in the system without trying to be violent in the system. You feel me? But
yeah.
I even got books. You feel me? So like I've been like questioning the government, like how I work. I got one of them books.
I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. You should always question things,
God, you know me? Oh God,
especially the motherfucking government.
on me. So I'm like, and then now seeing that how corrupt it is, that's something right there. Like I'm really like seeing like, man, this right here, how did this go on for so long?
Man, and that's the problem. It's not gonna end anytime soon.
Exactly. And that's the sad part we gotta fucking talk about.
I mean, there's only one way it's gonna end. You want to talk about the corruption in family law courts? There's only one way this shit's gonna end. And that is you got to cut in that money that they're making because that's all what it's about. For them, it ain't about shit but the money. You want to stop it? You got to take that money from them and quit giving them a fucking reason to do this shit to us.
Oh God, for sure, for sure. Man, wow. Cause like this shit, the reason why they doing this shit is because people support it.
Yep.
But if they expose what they get out of what they supporting, what is they gonna think? That's what I want to know. Like if they all know that what the government doing with the money they're getting, how like what's the determinant to that? Like what you gonna think after you know that? Are you just gonna be like, oh well, like are we serious? Like
Well, I mean, they don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about the shit that they pull them because they don't think anybody's going to do much about it. And for the few people that do challenge these motherfuckers and that do stand up to them and get rights to their kids in court and get out of, and get off child support because they got their kids half the time and shit like it should be, the ones who do that, these motherfuckers just make agreements with them and shit, and that way it don't allow it to be case law and precedent and everything else. That way nobody else can benefit from it because they don't want it cutting into their profit from other motherfuckers because they figure, well, if we let one person go, then that's cool. We still got these 1,000 others. Give me 1 second.
all right, that's fucked up, man. How they got thousands of others motherfuckers, but literally want to be on the shit because they gotta rely on the shit. I mean, I honestly believe you trying to rely on nothing if it comes down to being an adult about some shit. Because they shit when it comes to coming to jail, when it comes to going to jail, shit.
Yeah. Hey, I might lose you. Hey, I might lose you for a second. I'm giving my neighbor a ham real quick. I'll be right back.
All right, shit. When it comes to court, there's no dang well like that.
Hey, I'm helping my neighbor real quick. So I'll be right back.
Okay, you cool. Sad thing about this shit, when it come to court, man, they don't let you rely on shit. Only thing you can rely on is fucking Jesus. I guess I don't know, bro. Like I honestly, they think you think you supposed to rely on a lawyer. Shit, I don't know, bro. Like you honestly need money for a lawyer. If you can't afford one, who you relying on? Public defender? I don't understand. And they give you a public defender, but you can't have a public defender when it comes to child support. But you can go to jail for that shit. I'll tell you that. Like it's a crime. Like this ain't no crime, man. I mean, like, man, I swear to God, I seen that. I like went back and watched Bill Clinton sign the freaking Bill Clinton Act, like that Deadbeat Act. I seen it. Ah, oh, man, I gotta go back to that. I gotta see that right now. Hold on 1 second. I gotta see that because the Bill Clinton Act, the Deadbeat Act. Okay,
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
I'm gonna show you this video, right, of the Deadbeat Act, right, the Bill Clinton shit. I seen it. I was like, this is bullshit. Cause I was born in like '94, and like that's when he signed that shit. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, this motherfucker got me in some shit now. Like, let me see, where is it at, man? Cause it's like when I see that, it's just a wake up call to me. Like, this shit's still in place. Why is it taking forever? I guess. I forget it. But here we go. I'm trying this. Like a Deadbeat Act, right? The Deadbeat Act. Bill Clinton Deadbeat Act.
And it's all just some bullshit. It's a bullshit scam.
Man, and I honestly think they had to pay her. Like, I feel like it was definitely a scam, and they paid this woman with twins. She had twins, so I'm like, dang, we all in like this bullshit because the bitch had twins. That ain't our fault. Like, come on, like that was that dude's fault. Let me see. I'm like, how is this a real deadbeat act? There you
go. But the problem though is a deadbeat is what they say it is.
Yeah, definitely what I'm seeing right now.
You can be somebody who's completely caught current on child support, somebody who has no criminal record or nothing, but a woman can make one false allegation against you and all of a sudden you a deadbeat.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm discovering this right here. You can be in a rearage just by how long she take.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? Who fault is that? who money they for that?
You want me to be really honest about whose fault it is?
Who?
Mostly Democrats with a little bit of Republican help. That's whose fault it is. It was mostly Democrats who put these laws in place. They did have a little bit of Republican support. Currently, there's a lot of Republicans that are running on platforms where they do or are attempting to address the fathers' rights issues, and there are currently 0 Democrats willing to address this issue.
I'm seeing that too.
Completely factual.
I'm definitely seeing that too. That's crazy because I was just watching some shit earlier and I'm learning. I'm like, dude, they really switched the fucking shit. And
well, you got to think of it. You got to think of it this way, my brother. You got to look at it this way. The Democrats openly support the destruction of the nuclear family. They don't want fathers in the home, and they openly support this shit. That's the problem.
Man.
I mean,
dude,
think about it. Who makes the laws? Who makes the laws? The legislative branch. Who's the one that wants fathers out the home? The legislative branch. Which members of the legislative branch want fathers out the home? The Democrats. See where the problem lies?
Damn. And you know what? Hold up. I'm going to show you something real quick. I'm going to let you watch this shit real quick, but I'm going to show you something real quick, though, because I read this book, and, like, it explains some shit to me, man. It explains some shit why today is the reason why it is today. And now I'm saying, like, dang, these people was behind this shit. And it was like the Democrats. And I'm seeing them talking about the plantation. I'm like, whoa, okay. What the fuck is okay, but I'm gonna show you this shit real quick. This shit crazy. Like, This shit crazy to me. I'm only 26 years old, and I'm like, the world is opening up, and it's telling me something. And I'm like, okay, all right, I got all I need is sources. All I need is sources, and all I need is like, um, you know, the names and all that. I can just look it up. Like I found so much. I found so much research and shit. But
Yep.
here we go. I'm gonna let you hear what she had to say about her twins. I'm like, what the fuck? Are we for real? Let's see. I find it, and she's scratching. She's moving her finger too much. It's kind of weird.
Who's here with her twin sons,
like,
Jonathan and Jesse?
They paid you for this? She's like, she's scared to say this. She's like, she was scared to say this, but I'm right back.
Important responsibilities. Too many people had to go to lawyers and have paid fees to get their child support collected. There has been so much that has been done in these last 20 years, and particularly these last 4 years. But we have much, much more to do for one of the most important responsibilities of government that I know, to make sure that our most precious possession receive the support, the encouragement, and the positive opportunity to grow in a strong, constructive way. A very eloquent person on this subject is Miss Sonia Evans, who's here with her twin sons, Jonathan and Jesse, to tell you just what it means to her.
It's like, it's a woman. They had to pay her.
My name is Sonia Evans, and I am joined here today by my two 9-year-old sons, Jonathan and Jesse. First, I would like to thank the President for giving my sons and I the opportunity to be President at the signing of this important piece of legislation, and for doing so much to help moms like me collect child support. For many years, my son's father moved from state to state to avoid paying child support. With the help from the Child Support Agency and their new computer system, we finally located him, and now I'm receiving child support every 2 weeks, direct from his paycheck.
Man.
It is now my great honor to introduce the President of the United States, Bill Clinton.
See, there you go, right there. Look,
Right.
who was president that did that passed that law?
Bill fucking Clinton.
Bill fucking Clinton.
Democrat.
Was he a Republican? Was he a Republican or a Democrat?
Democrat, man. What the
Democrat.
fuck?
So again, which party's responsible for things?
Democrat.
And I don't like getting political. I don't care what who people want to vote for. That's your right. You vote for whoever the fuck you want to vote for. Vote for however you want to vote. But if you want to be an advocate for fathers' rights, you need to know the facts. And the facts are, whether you like it or not, the Democratic Party is the one that's mostly responsible for all of this shit being put in place. And the Democrat Party is the one that's trying to push it even fucking further currently. The Republicans, whereas they did have some help in the Democrats passing this shit originally, the Republicans now, there's quite a bit of Republicans that are running for office now that part of their platform does include fathers' rights.
Man.
It's to me, it's an easy choice to make. If somebody's running for fathers' rights and they're actually also for benefiting their constituents, the country, and everybody else, and all that shit, they're wanting to make sure people have jobs, they're wanting to make sure people are protected and everything else. Cool. If you're an advocate for fathers' rights, I'm gonna support you. I don't give a fuck if you're a Democrat, Republican. I don't give a fuck if you're an alien Martian. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. You can be motherfucking more than the Martian, and I still support your ass. But being honest, right now, Democrats are openly pushing for getting rid of the nuclear family and everything else. So, I mean,
it looks like a whole war out there for that. Like I saw, I'm like, I gotta get out.
There's a war against fathers, and there's a war against men. Look at it this way. Look at it this way. If you're trying to weaken a society so you can take it over, who's going to be the primary line of defense for the population? Who's for the people? Who's going to be the primary line of defense? The men, mostly, right?
Yeah.
If you weaken the men and get rid of men and make all the men sissies to where they think they're women and all this shit, then who's left to defend? Nobody.
Man, bro. And that's like, dude, that's in this book right here. It's literally in this book. Like it's called the Willie Lynch letter.
See, to me, it's just common sense. But see, I'm also a history fanatic. Okay, I love history. I know an awful lot about history. U.S. war, U.S. history, a lot of world history. I'm familiar with a lot of wars and their catalysts, how they started and everything else. I'm also familiar with different periods of history throughout the world as well. I know a lot about the different dictators that have been taught about in school and everything else. I've done a lot of independent research on these people and everything else, and I've read a lot of the works that they've done. Mao, Lenin, Stalin, Mussolini, Hitler. I've actually read a lot of the works that they put out, if the ones who had stuff that actually was put out. I've actually looked into the literature they've done and everything else, because education is key to all things, right?
Yeah.
You want to learn how these people's mind worked and how these people came into power to where people thought it was acceptable to do the shit that these idiots that these monsters did. How do you get people to go along with thinking that that's ever fucking okay type of shit? You know what I'm saying? So I want to know, how did he do it type of shit? How did they do it? Well, read Mein Kampf. And then I understand saying that might be controversial and all that, but if you actually read that book will tell you how Hitler came into power. Read that book and look at what's going on right now in the United States. You will fucking be shocked at what you discover if you actually read the book.
Yeah,
Look at power. You'll notice a comparison between one political party here in the United States and how Hitler came to power.
Yeah, definitely. Cause I got into that too.
If you look at the facts, which party was it that started the Civil War so they could keep their slaves? The Democrats. Which vice president or presidential candidate's grandfather or great grandfather, whatever it was the largest slave owner in Jamaica? That's Kamala Harris. I mean, Trump wasn't a slave owner. Kamala Harris's ancestors were they were the largest slave owners in Jamaica. I'm not making it up. Go look, fact check me. Please do.
That man Biden, though, like he said, we call it, do the KKK. Remember KKK? The head honcho?
Yeah. He supported their grand was and all that. He even said recently, if you listen to what he said recently to Charlemagne the God, he talking about if you vote for Trump, you ain't black. Are you fucking serious? Do you realize how racist that is? Imagine if Trump said, if you vote for Democrats, you ain't black. How mad would people be if Trump said you ain't black if you vote for Democrats? How salty would people be? But yet for Biden, no, it ain't fucking okay. It's still just as fucking racist.
Yo, no like racist. You know, like, oh, that was barely racist. Like, people didn't see that. I was like, dang, I heard it. I was like, dude, that's racist. Yeah. I'm calm with this shit. I'm like, dude, that's racist. But at the same time, nobody gonna say nothing. Okay, you're gonna feel some
Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. And if you speak up and say something about how it was racist, especially someone like me being a white guy, if I speak up and say something, oh, it ain't my place because I'm not black, I can't speak on that. But if I still say anything else further, then I'm a racist because I'm speaking bad about black people somehow whenever I'm talking bad about Joe Biden. Because of his racist comment, I'm racist. Okay, then I guess I'm a fucking racist. Sure.
On that other shit, hey, people don't know.
I'm the worst racist in the world, then I guess, because I treat everybody the same. You come at me with respect, I'll treat you with respect. You come at me stupid, I'm gonna treat you stupid. It's that simple.
Exactly, simple as
I'll show you respect from the start. I'm not one of those that think respect is earned. No, I'm not gonna fully trust you or anything, but I'm gonna show you respect from the start. And as long as you treat me with respect, I'll continue to respect you. If you disrespect me, I don't know you shit at that point. Fuck you at that point. I'm just done with you.
Exactly. Man, dude. And man, I
ain't gonna make no comments. If I need to say something, I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and that's it. But it still ain't gonna be racist. I'm just gonna tell you I think you're an idiot and a piece of shit, and I'm done dealing with your ass.
And this is real shit. That's all it is, dude. Man, when it comes to that shit, yeah, I got into like how the government works, how the U.S. government works. No, like, I don't think nobody really gets like that. And like,
I actually see. I have a college degree, and my undergrad is in criminal justice. I was actually going to try to get into law enforcement. But then I ended up messing up my knee and everything else so that I couldn't run like I used to or anything else. Now I can, but I'm too old now. So it is what it is. But I was going to go into law enforcement, so I got my degree in criminal justice. And as part of that, I already had an understanding of the government anyway, but as part of that, you learn even more so how the government works, especially on the judicial side of the government.
Yeah. Like when you're in the military, you pretty much like property.
Well, I mean, military is different because then you fall under the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and that's completely different rules than what most people are going to have. I mean, granted, your same typical laws apply to everybody in the military, but then the military also holds you to a higher standard because when you're in the military, if you're active duty or anytime you're in the military, you're actually a soldier 24/7. You represent the military at all times, especially if you're in uniform. Even if you're off duty or whatever and you're at a store or whatever and you're in uniform, you still represent the military, so you're held to a different standard. Shit like that. It just, yeah. But
yeah, I was trying to get in the military shit. That shit, man. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you how it really got me into trying to do this shit for sure. Like they got me motivated to do this shit. Is like going through this shit myself. Cause like with this shit going on, I didn't volunteer to do this shit. I got sucked into the system pretty much, like over somebody else's will. And it's like, damn, is that how the government works? They just gonna let somebody like just suck you in the system without your permission? Like that's how we working now.
The problem is, though, it's not the government allowing you to be a victim of the system when it comes to family law. You're actually the problem, not them. See, the thing of it is, it's not their job to teach you the law or your rights. As a private citizen, it's actually your responsibility to know the laws and your rights. That's not on them. That's on you. It's them that violates the law and our rights. They are guilty of that, but they do so because they know that they can get away with it. When they encounter people that they can't get away with it with, those are the people who tend to have more access to their children. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it all really comes down to, literally all comes down to, at the end of the day, what do you know? If you know what you're doing, you tend to have more success in court.
Just the more you know, shit. And like I ain't gonna lie, like, cause like with my community and shit, it's like black people, they feel like when you instantly go on court, you feel like you can't do nothing. Like it instantly, like they look at you different. Like, and it's like even with a black judge, like they look at you different, and you the same color as them. It's like, what the fuck? Are we not on the same page? Like it's like, is you just corrupt now? Like.
Now, see, that's one thing that I wish people wouldn't do. Don't stop bringing race into the father's rights issues because, man, it don't matter what color the judge is. It don't matter what color you are. You're already guilty. They're just looking for an excuse. It don't matter about anything else, period. Nothing else matters. The only color that matters to these motherfuckers is green. And the sooner we as men can understand this and stop fighting over the dumb bullshit like typically people do, like with the different support groups and all that shit, the sooner all these dumbasses grow up and stop fighting over the dumb shit and we actually all organize and work together, man, watch how fast we could bring change. I guarantee you within inside of 10, 15 years, we can bring real fucking change to where our sons ain't got to go through this shit. Otherwise, all we're doing is setting it up to where our sons are going to be dealing with the same fucking shit we're dealing with right now. And people act like they don't give a fuck. That y'all are fake as fuck then.
Exactly. That's what I'm like, dude. We got, you can't just sit here and just keep letting this shit happen to yourself. You got at least got to do something. Like, and even if it take like you jumping out the box, because it's like I'm jumping out the box, and I'm not even a professional with it. I'm still jumping out the box, and it's like if you feel like it's affecting you, do something. If you feel like you cool with it, stay cool with it. But at the same time, if you see other people hurting, what can you do? Like, can you help, or can you just like why they just sit here and just let it happen? Like they're not helping the situation if they just sit there letting it happen. So it's like you gotta fight them people too. Cause they like dead weight.
I mean, the whole system's set up against you if you're a male.
Man.
It's gender bias. Ultimately, is what it comes down to in a lot of cases. It really is gender bias.
Yeah.
That, or in some cases, if you actually make a stand for your rights, you'll have a judge. Excuse me, you'll have a judge who will get salty and retaliate against you, and then that's whenever you just have that judge removed from the case altogether, and then proceed accordingly. I actually tonight am filing a motion to have the commissioner in my case removed. And there's enough information in this in my declaration that if the law is upheld, they're going to have no choice but to open an ethics investigation into her.
Why didn't they investigate already, though? Is what I want to know.
Oh, well, see, the thing of it is, if they investigate her for an ethics violation and they start looking into other cases and she treats other people the same way she's been treating me, she's probably going to jail.
Wait, she got other kids, or she just like?
I don't know. I don't care. She's a female who's fucking salty because I had one of her decisions overturned. She got something wrong. I had it overturned, and now she's butthurt and retaliating against me because I made her look stupid. Because some ass redneck Peckerwood from Missouri, who is just some obvious idiot redneck that don't know shit, actually had one of her decisions overturned. Who am I to have this commissioner's decision overturned? She's almighty powerful Commissioner Terry Farmer. I'm a nobody redneck for fucking Missouri who shouldn't know shit. Well, dumb bitch, guess what? I'm a lot smarter than you're ever gonna fucking be. I've been learning this shit for 17 years. You have a wannabe education and clearly don't know what the fucking law is.
Damn.
Let's get into this. Let's discuss the law. Let's discuss facts. I bet I embarrass this bitch all day long. And come for this motion to have her removed, I guarantee you it's going to be like everything else that's been against me. I'm going to get a win.
Yeah.
The thing is, nobody can show a win against me in court. My ex-wife can't show you any wins. Her wins come through fraud or default. Literally, fraud and default. That's the only way she's got victories. Anytime I've been in court for anything, I ain't lost yet. Clearly, I got to know something about what I'm doing if I still ain't went to jail for anything, and I haven't matter yet.
You still out?
You know how many times she's trying to get a restraining order against me? Let's see. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 restraining order attempts. You know how many restraining orders she's had against me? None. Not a single fucking one. And you know, she's made up type of shit like I threw her down the stairs when she was pregnant. She made type of accusations like I threatened to come and kill her and kidnap my daughter. All kinds of stupid shit. Ain't none of it ever stuck yet because it's all bullshit lies. She ain't been able to get a single one of them to stick. They've all been kicked out of court and tossed for lack of fucking cause and evidence. Every damn one of them. And they're all silver bullets. But yet, there's people in some groups that say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Motherfucker, let's see how many wins you got in court. I bet you can't fucking show like I can.
Man, I fucked up. I think I must have fucked up showing up to court because I sure got put on some shit.
No, you show up to court. That's the problem. You show up to that protective order hearing. Don't fucking let them bastards win. You show the fuck up. They got to have evidence and proof. Hearsay is not admissible in court, so it damn sure isn't proof. They got to actually have some kind of fucking proof to show that you actually did what they're accusing you to do in order for them to grant the protective order. Short of that, they're violating your due process, which means you can appeal, have it overturned, and then the courts can, depending on how egregious they feel the violation was, launch an ethics investigation or pull the judge from the case altogether to not let him hear anything future related to that case. In the future, related to that case.
I didn't have a lawyer type shit. Like I went to court and like he got me over messages that I was trying to get my son over, and it's like, damn, you got harassing. That's harassing when I'm just messaging and telling him like I'm trying to get my son, and I think she kidnapped my son, and it's like that's harassing.
Well, look, I'll put it like this. You know how many times I've had lawyers in my shit? And let's see, I've had matters, and it started in Washington, then there was a restraining order attempt in Oklahoma, then there was a matter in California, and then I think there might have been a restraining order attempt in Texas, but then it was back in Washington again, and now it's in Washington for the third time, right? So, okay, In all of this shit, I've had an attorney one time, and that was in 2015 in Mason County, Washington, right? You know what ended up happening in that? My attorney that I had ended up taking $7,000 of my money, bailing on my case without notifying me, without telling the court. She just quit working on my case altogether. I can show where I sent notice to the court telling them my attorney was fired and why she was fired. And it was before any final orders were entered. But yet the courts completely ignored that. They quit sending me documents. I didn't know of any court dates, and everything was finished. My ex-wife got ordered through a default. So like I said, they can't show a win against me. She has a default and fraud. That's all she's got against me. And ain't none of them legit wins. It's default and a fraud. And technically the default was illegal as fuck because, for one, it was a no contact order with my child. They fully restricted my rights with zero evidence against me. For another, like I said, I can show where I submitted notice to the courts and to opposing counsel of my attorney being fired, and I would be taking care of the matter on my own from that point forward. And they stopped sending me anything. They didn't. I don't even know if the clerk actually filed it, but I can prove it was sent. And if it wasn't filed, that's a violation of the law, state and federal law. So, I mean, and like I said, anything I've been to court over, every time I've been to court over anything to do with any of this shit, I've won. It's just, that's why she makes sure I don't get, like, they can't show a proof of service from the original shit, the original custody or child support hearing. They can't show proof of service for any of that shit, which means it's all fucking violation of my due process because she knew where I was. We were living together. We were married. Let's see. And this time, what's currently going on, they've yet to serve me any official anything, even telling me that there's a matter going on, even though I'm already aware of it, but they never served me anything in the beginning. So they still have no proof of service. They're supposed to have this shit, but yet they don't. So, I mean, yeah, it's violations of the law. That's the only way they have anything against me in court. But anytime the law's been followed and I've known of a court date and I've actually been in court, nah, there ain't a single fucking win against me. I've won everything. I've had it all tossed out, or I've been given access. And then typically is what happens is whenever it's going to court, I get more access to my daughter than she bails the state and flees and quits even appearing to court and everything else because she's never allowed me to have a relationship with my kid. Parental alienation.
And that's wild too, right there, because like alienation.
Yep, and I can prove all of it. That's the beauty of it. I've always proven it all in court, and she's never been able to prove anything she's ever said about me. But I've always been able to thoroughly prove all my claims. So they're not claims. I've been able to prove all the facts to be facts. As I state them, and the documents are on YouTube. It's not like I'm lying. All my court documents with case numbers and everything are full case numbers and all are on YouTube, and it's public information. Anybody can go look to see if I'm lying.
I see you.
I'm not bullshitting. Go look. But she knows that that's why she bails, because she knows if it goes through court, she's gonna there ain't shit she can do. That's why she fucking frauds the courts and doesn't serve documents or anything else like she's supposed to, because she knows if I'm in court, she's fucked. She already knows I'm a lot smarter than she is, and she already knows I'm gonna know more about this than any attorney she can hire will. And that's the problem. She knows she can't beat me in court because she has nothing against me, literally. So she's got to violate the fucking law. And they let her because it's a biased ass fucking state I got to deal with.
No, definitely. On that bullshit, biased bullshit.
Yep.
You know what's crazy? Because I was thinking, Bill Clinton, right? He put that story, and she said, right, how the hell are they gonna make that shit able to track a man down when the man ain't trying to be tracked down? The man is standing there like facing the fucking them. They don't want nothing to do with him. How you don't want to know what a man that's facing you face to face and not running from you? Like, he's like, damn, okay, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, okay, I'm here. I ain't running nowhere. You ain't gotta use those systems to track me down. But you know dang well I got my shit right here. I got evidence. You're not trying to hear it or see it, but you gonna evidence from her because she going there with that paper, that child support. She going there.
And that's just it. Whenever she go in there with that to do that child support, then the state starts getting money and everything else. When she goes in there and gets state assistance because she claiming you're a deadbeat because she won't let you see the kid and she won't, you know what I'm saying? She's alienating you and everything else, and then gonna claim you a deadbeat on some bullshit. She gonna make up all these lies and shit, and she gonna get state assistance and everything else with the child support and all this, and all of it's just so the state can get more money.
You know what I'm thinking?
Because the more assistance she gets, the more the state can jack up child support because the state's got to get their money back from somebody. And if they're going to make you pay child support, well, they want their money back too. So it all goes back to where they get kickbacks anyway from the federal government through the Title 4D entitlement program.
Title 4D is a whole. I swear to God, I looked into that. Man, how? Like, just how? How was that? Obama. I feel like Obama. I feel like he put that there. He did that shit. I don't know.
No, it actually wasn't Obama. It was actually put into place long before Obama. But
I was trying to take a guess.
But it's like I said, it was mostly Democrats with a little bit of Republican support. Since then, it's been overwhelmingly majority Democrats, and anymore it's pretty much all Democrats that want to remove fathers from the home.
That's it, of course. Now I swear that's what's in this book. The book right here I read. That's what's in this book. Them trying to remove fathers and shit and turn this world kind of fucked up with the black community, pretty much. The black community. That's just what this book is about. You feel me? They controlling the black community with this book. That's what Democrats doing. That's how I'm like, okay, I definitely can see that. For sure.
Well, see, is what you do is see the playbook for this is going to sound harsh, but let me finish because it's not my opinions or my thoughts. This is actually the communist, dictator, socialist playbook, right? Mm-hmm. Is what you do is you find the easiest manipulated community, blast them with propaganda to manipulate them, to set them, to push them so they reach a breaking point. So they react because they react on feelings, on emotion. And then you let them get everything going. And then when the smoke settles, that's when you come in and take over because, well, somebody has to get control of things, clearly.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie.
Look at facts. Democrats want socialism, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Look up, do some research, and tell me one country in the history of the world that's been socialist, that's been beneficial for black people. Show me one. I'll show you every single one of them where black people were fucking targeted, where minorities were targeted, not just black, but minorities in general were targeted. Black people have actually been the most targeted under socialism throughout the history of the world, and yet y'all want socialism? Are you stupid? Y'all are talking about what the Republicans are gonna do, man. We're trying to keep y'all fucking free. These motherfuckers got much worse for you in store than fucking just the imaginary racism you think you see everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. They
got much worse in store for all of us.
Nobody sees that. Nobody sees that coming. It's like they don't. It's like,
well, the problem is, look, you're a young cat, right?
Yeah.
When you went to school, did you learn a lot about history in school?
Yeah, colonial history.
You actually learned a lot about history? They taught you a lot about history?
They ain't teaching about my history, but they told me about slavery. Yes, well, I know that. They taught me about slavery. Now I'm like, okay, that's all y'all gonna teach us, but they moved to the colonial shit after that.
Well, see, the thing is, in history now, because I'm almost done with a master's degree. I'm going to get a different degree because I'm not going into education now. But I had my student teaching and then 3 classes to complete, and I was done with my master's degree to have a master's in education to teach high school social studies, right? Because I wanted to be a history teacher because I love history. Well, history teachers are not history teachers anymore. They're called social studies teachers. In most schools across the country, most public schools across the country, history or social studies teachers teach geography, social studies, history, a couple other things, and they're wanting to incorporate reading for social studies teachers to teach as well. How much time does that actually leave to teach actual real history? So whenever young cats are going to school, not learning about what socialism really is, not learning about Stalin or Lenin, not learning about Mussolini or Mao, not learning about Hitler and the concentration camps and the persecution and slaughter of over 6 million Jews, which actually it's the numbers are actually argued. Some suggest the number is actually closer to 10 million Jews murdered, but I mean, either way, millions and millions of Jews murdered and everything else. They don't learn this shit properly in school anymore, so they think socialism's all good and well because all they hear about socialism in school is how whenever there's socialism, everybody benefits. No, everybody's equal. Everybody's equal is one of the main ways they want to push it. You're right, everybody is equal under socialism. Everybody's equally poor. Everybody's equally as hungry. Everybody's as equally terrorized by the local fucking government and their gangs. Everybody's equally murdered and slaughtered just because they feel like it. Look at Venezuela. You think I'm joking? Look at what's going on in Venezuela. You got money lying in the fucking streets in Venezuela because it's completely fucking worthless. You got people dying of starvation regularly in Venezuela right now because you can't fucking get food a lot of times.
Yeah, that shit hot. And ain't no money. That money ain't shit over there.
That's socialism, and people want that shit? Are you stupid?
Man, California don't even understand. Man, that's a Democrat state.
Exactly.
Y'all understand the gas prices around that motherfucker? Are we okay with that? I don't know.
Damn. Well, it's not just gas prices, but look at it this way, right? They said that the wildfires in Oregon and all that was started by climate change, right? The Democrats are the honest party, right? I'm not getting political. I don't want to sway anybody. Do what you do with your own politics. But let's discuss facts. Democrats say that climate change is responsible for the fires. But yet there was a guy arrested who admitted that he lit a Molotov cocktail, threw it into some brush, and he started the brush fire in Oregon, right? But the Democrats in the news are still saying it was climate change whenever there's a guy who admitted that it was him. So I guess his name must be climate change is what they're trying to say, is that this guy's name is climate change. First name climate, last name change, right? Mr. Change is what we'll call him, right? Well, because Mr. Change, Mr. Climate Change, lives in liberal Portland and liberal Oregon, he was released without bail after admitting to starting a fire that took people's lives. You know what he did when he was released?
What?
Went and started 16 fucking more fires. 16, not 6, 6. 16 more.
Damn.
That's Democrats. That's what they support. That's social. That's your world. That's your world if you support socialism.
Man, and they don't see that. Nobody see that shit.
No, the problem is they do. They just believe all the lies and shit because, well, whenever the media only shows you whenever a white cop shoots a black person, they only show the part where it looks like the guy's unarmed, or it makes it look like the cops are the aggressors. You know what I'm saying? Just to stoke the flames of racism. And then you get a group like Black Lives Matter that pops up. That sounds great. And everybody was supporting it initially because, you can't have cops targeting black people because they're black. No, that shit can't happen. No, stop that shit. Let's end this. But then you find out that 2 of the 3 founders of Black Lives Matter are trained Marxists, and Black Lives Matter are the ones burning and looting and destroying these cities. And then you idiots still want to support this because the media wants to tell you that it's mostly the media, while CNN reporters standing in front of a burning fucking building is saying it's fiery but mostly peaceful. You believe that shit? As soon as the first fucking rock's thrown, it ain't no longer a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
If the people in the crowd do not stop those who are committing the rioting and destruction and violence, they are just as guilty as everybody else because they are not stopping it. If the people at these protests would stop these people and keep it peaceful, more people would actually support their cause, and then they would actually show that they really care. if Black Lives Matter really cared about Black Lives, why the fuck ain't they in Chicago every damn week and stopping all these murders up there? Why is it that the Trump administration had to send the federal organizations in to stop and help reduce the violence in Chicago instead of Black Lives Matter doing it?
Yeah.
When Trump's racist, why is Trump trying to save the Black lives in Chicago when he's a racist and Black Lives Matter ain't doing shit or even saying anything about it?
You know what?
That is it not?
About that, like whenever you get like a bad rep for a name, don't you change it? when the name is getting tarnished and torn down, don't you change the name to not be involved with the bullshit with the name now getting torn down? Like,
not necessarily change the name. If the founders and the big wigs of like Black Lives Matter would come out and actually condone this shit and tell their supporters it must end, and they would actually stop people from doing it, then they'd have credibility. But until they do that, until they stop all the bullshit, they ain't nothing but on some bullshit themselves. So, yeah. I mean, they did it themselves. White people didn't do that to them. I know it's a lot of white people out there doing this shit, but it's also a lot of Mexicans and black people as well. It ain't only white people out there doing it, regardless what anybody want to say. And these white people that they do keep showing, trying to make it seem like it's only white people, they all still Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter leaders still ain't came out and condemned them. So if they're claiming they're white and they're Black Lives Matter and the leaders aren't telling them to stop, clearly the whole fucking organization is in support of them just by simple fucking logic.
And they want to come out and talk about it too late. Like, damn, motherfucker, it's too late. You sure are you?
Yeah. 4 months later, you want to come out and say it's got to stop. But yet you notice whenever they say it's got to stop, do they say Black Lives Matter and Antifa? No, is what they do is they say it's got to stop. And then they start saying Trump supporters need to end the violence. You really want the Trump supporters to go out and end the violence? Because you Democrats aren't going to like how we do it, because you're going to lose most of your supporters, because we're going to exercise our Second Amendment rights, and we're going to go out and officially actually fucking end it if you really want that. Otherwise, y'all need to call out Black Lives Matter and Antifa by name, stop these motherfuckers, and tell these liberal mayors and Democrats to stop with this catch and release shit and actually hold them accountable when they violate the law, instead of just letting them right the fuck back out with no bail or anything else.
You know what that is? That's starting a civil war.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do, is start a civil war. Look at it this way. Look, Joe Biden's already got a team of lawyers in case the election is contested. Okay. Here's what happens with mail-in voting. They can keep pushing back the election results and pushing them back. Come January 20th at 12 noon, Trump's out of office. If there is no president decided, the Speaker of the House becomes president of the United States. Guess who Speaker of the House is right now? Nancy Pelosi. So that would mean Pelosi would become Speaker of the House if it's all contested.
That's what we're hoping for.
Then that means the Democrats take back the White. Then that means the Democrats steal the election. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And then they're hoping that they can cause enough chaos before then. But if Trump wins, then these Democrats are openly already saying that there's going to be more violence. Look at what Michelle Obama recently said. She recently publicly said something I'm not quoting directly because I don't remember exactly word for word, but it's something along the lines of, if you think this can't get any worse, it can and it will if we don't have a change in government, or something along those lines.
I find that
basically making a threat saying if y'all vote for Trump, we're going to get worse.
Right. So I'm like, what the fuck? How you gonna make a threat like that on national television?
Yeah. I'm like, see that Confederate flag right there. Do you know the history about that flag?
What's that?
That Confederate flag image. Do you know the history of that flag?
Not really.
I bet you'd be surprised if you knew the origins and the history of that flag. I bet you wouldn't believe me if I told you the origins and history of that flag.
They flipped it, didn't they? They flipped it like they flipped it like, who made it? I believe black people made it.
See, the Confederate flag, don't forget the Confederate flag is quote unquote racist, right?
Yeah.
The Confederate flag was actually designed by Southern slaves. It was actually the battle flag of Southern slaves. It was the battle flag of Southern slaves. They're the ones who designed it, and they were the first ones who flew it for during the Civil War, and then it became the flag of the South. Can't be too racist if it was actually the slaves in the South who did it on. They weren't forced to do it. They did it on their own.
Yeah, bro. They did it on their own. They got rid of it.
You find all kinds of pictures of black men holding the Confederate flag that live down south. That's ancestors are from down south. It's about heritage. It ain't about anybody can take something and make it racist. That's just on that person, not necessarily that. The Confederate flag isn't steeped in racism. It's about heritage for some people.
So I see like everybody pointing out the bad though, like that came behind it too though, like with lynching and all that kind of shit. But
yet that was the KKK, right? Who started the KKK? Who founded the KKK?
The Democrats.
Southern Democrats.
Yeah.
Southern Democrats were the ones that started the KKK.
Funded it.
No, they actually were the KKK themselves in a lot of cases. Look at Joe Biden's mentor. Dude was a grand wizard or whatever it is in the KKK. Yeah. I mean, come on now. This dude was a senator and he was a grand wizard, a Democratic senator, sitting member of the Senate, and he was a very high-ranking member of the Ku Klux Klan, and he was a Democrat. But yet the Republicans are racist? Seriously? Some are. I'm sure there are some racist Republicans. But let's look at how many racist Democrats there have been, and still are.
We think that makes Joe Biden to him then, because if that was a mentor to Joe Biden,
he's a mentor to Hillary Clinton too.
Yeah, so who was him to them? Like who was like who he think was they was from him, like as his mentor, them calling him mentor, who was he to them? Like to him.
I mean, you gotta think realistically. This man was one of the very highest rank. He was one of the top people in the Ku Klux Klan. So do you think he approved of any minority group? No, he didn't. And he mentored Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, or well, different people in the Klan have, if it's not the same guy. I think it's actually the same guy though. But either way, he mentored Biden. We'll stick with just Biden. He was Joe Biden's mentor, right? If he was racist and was against all minority groups, and he was Joe Biden's mentor, do you think he mentored Joe Biden to be fair and honest to all people? That's an impossibility. Look at it this way. When Joe Biden was a senator or whatever, he made the comment about arguing against the desegregation of schools, talking about he didn't want his children going to school in an urban jungle. Yeah, he made that comment. That was Joe Biden who made that comment. It was Joe Biden. It was Joe Biden who was talking about Barack Obama, saying he was the first clean, articulate, smart black person Biden had ever come across. That was Joe Biden who said that, not Donald Trump. That was Joe Biden.
Man, I ain't never heard Donald Trump.
Come on now.
Wait. You expect somebody to be clean. You don't just call somebody clean. Like, especially if they somebody like higher up in the suit. Like, you think
no, because it's the stereotype about black people, that black people are smelly and dirty and all that shit. The stereotype. That's what he was saying, that Barack Obama was the first black person he had ever met who didn't meet that stereotype. Really? You ain't never met any decent people in your life? Really? You ain't never met no decent, respectable Americans? You ain't never left your basement and got out and talked to people? You can find all kinds of Americans out there. Race don't mean shit to me. You're an American, so I don't give a shit about all that. But you can find all kinds of Americans out there who are good, upstanding, smart, decent people that just want to fucking work, take care of their family, and just enjoy their life.
Exactly.
How is Barack Obama the first one you ever came across whenever you was already in politics for over 30 fucking years at the time? I mean, I'm really at a loss right there on that one. I don't get it.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how are y'all reacting to this shit and saying it's racist still out here and a black president or just white president? Like, it couldn't get no racist than that.
Well, see, Obama was the first black president, but what did Obama do for the black community? Can you name anything he did for the black community? I'll wait. Can anybody name one thing Barack Obama did for the black community? I'll wait. Man. I'll give you all the time. I'll give you till this time next week. I bet you can't come up with not a single damn thing. Now, Let's look at what. Let's look at what. Let's look at what the racist Donald Trump. Huh?
I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be fair with that because they be trying to argue and say that, oh, he raised the minimum wage.
But okay, let's to be fair, he pushed for a higher minimum wage. Now let's look at the consequences of that. How many people lost their jobs? How many people in the minority community lost their jobs as a result of that higher minimum wage? The numbers were staggering. You're talking millions and millions of people across the board, especially in the black community, were decimated with job loss as a result of that. So obviously that wasn't helpful to the black community. So clearly the first black president didn't do shit for the black community. Now, let's take a look at what the racist motherfucking piece of shit, orange man bad, Donald Trump has done for the black community. Lowest unemployment in the history of records for black community before the pandemic. Funding to where for the next 10 years, historical amounts of funding for historically black colleges and universities, opportunity zones, prison reform, criminal justice reform. I mean, I'll stop there just because I don't want anybody to get too salty about that because all that's a lot of information. They're going to accuse me of being a liar and being racist, but that's all fact. Look into all of that shit. Trump's the one that did that.
All you really got to tell me or show me that is that he let somebody out of jail that was a big time felon or a big time name. And I was like, all right, and it happened. He let him out. I never saw Obama do that. And it's like, now, okay, that's proof to me that, okay, Obama would have never done that shit because that's proof that he had 8 years to do that.
Who you talking about, Alice Johnson?
Freeway Ricky Ross, I feel like.
Well, see, like Alice Johnson, she was doing life in prison for nonviolent drug charges, first offense. He let her out of prison. Why was that woman even put in prison? Oh, that's right, because Joe Biden and Bill Clinton's crime reform bill in '94, I think it was '94, whatever it was, their crime reform bill that put black people in jail for the rest of their life for that. That woman had no first time being arrested for fucking a weed charge. That woman had no business going to jail for life. Trump did the right thing. Trump really, he's trying. I mean, you got to look at it this way. If Trump wasn't dealing with these Democrats trying to stop him, constant investigations, constantly blocking him from doing everything, how much more shit could he have gotten done in these last 4 years? Let's be real. How much more could he have gotten done than what he did? And this man's done more than in office than any fucking president ever.
And I cannot get past that either.
Name one president who's kept their promises like Donald Trump. I'll wait. Show me proof of one president who's kept promises like Donald Trump has.
The amount of promises at that.
Yeah, he's kept damn near every one of his promises. The few that he hasn't fully kept yet, like the wall, it's being built. And then some of the other ones that he hasn't gotten done yet. Why hasn't he gotten them done? Because the Democrats, not because he didn't try to, but because the Democrats didn't want to help the American people because orange man bad, and that's all they're worried about. They're not trying to help anybody right now because orange man bad. So anything Donald Trump does that's beneficial to the people, Trump can claim it as a win, and the Democrats can't have that because then he might get reelected again, and that's what they're terrified of. So that's why they're not going to do anything to help the people, but yet it's all Trump's fault. They're the ones stopping it, but it's his fault that they're stopping it because, well, orange man bad.
Love Trump, hate, but that's reverse psychology. Like, clearly, like, I don't see nobody hating besides them. Democrats hate the Trump. He just point out jokes. He literally jokes.
Well, see, and he's not. He doesn't even necessarily joke. The problem with Trump is that most people take issue with is Trump is a very direct and outspoken person. He's not. He might be a businessman, but he's not Willy Wonka. He's not in the sugarcoating business. So he don't sugarcoat shit. He's very blunt and very direct, and most people don't know how to take that. That's like me. Some people say I'm an outright dickhead just because I'm the most direct and outspoken person you'll ever meet. I don't bite my tongue. I don't have a filter. I say what the fuck I think, and I don't care. Because I'm always going to be respectful to someone, so I don't have to worry about anything I say. You know what I'm saying? But even if somebody disrespects me, and I'm going to be disrespectful, I don't give a fuck about what I say because I'm not going to cross. You know, there's certain lines I just won't cross. But I'm still very direct and very blunt about things. So some people take it the wrong way. Whenever me personally, nah, I'm sorry. I have more respect for the people who are more direct and blunt about things than people who try to sugarcoat and beat around the bush about shit. Because, nah, if you're going to be real, you need to just be real. If you claim you're real, you should just be real and just, you don't need to sugarcoat and beat around the bush. If you do that, you obviously ain't fucking real, are you? Trump's a
No.
real motherfucker, so people don't know how to understand it. Plus, people are so fucking coddled and sheltered and protected that they can't deal with anybody saying anything harsh because, well, participation trophies is what we have to do, and that's part of the problem too. You got an entire fucking generation who think they're owed something when they ain't done shit to deserve a goddamn thing but a swift kick in the fucking ass.
Exactly. Yeah, I was raised like you shouldn't rely on like government or government assistance, but yet my mom was on the shit, and it's like, damn, you kind of like raised me on the shit, and now I got on the shit, thinking that it's okay to be on the shit. So it's like,
Government assistance is not a career choice.
no,
It's not a career path.
it's not. It's not something you want. Something that
No.
it's a big holder back, honestly, because like you can't make a certain amount and get that assistance.
Nope.
So you gotta go through.
So it
finesse.
prevents you from making something of your life. It keeps you a victim of the system. Why do you think like you'll hear people like Candace Owens talking about the Democratic plantation? That's what she's meaning whenever she makes that comment, that Democratic plantation. See, if you want to rely on the government's your pimp at that point, your full-time pimp. You're the government's prostitute, right? Because the government says, no, you can't make no bread because if you do, we ain't giving you nothing anymore. And then we're going to take more of your bread. So then that way you get fucked even more. So what do people do? They choose, okay, well, I'll stay here so that way I can keep getting these benefits. That's the Democratic plantation that she refers to that people stay on.
That's some slave ass shit. Oh, that's some fucking slave ass shit.
That's what Candace Owens talks about. That's exactly what the fuck she means. You stay supportive of the government, you stay dependent on the government, and therefore the government's your daddy at that point. And if you try to leave, they want to fucking sit here and have all these taxes and try to do everything else to keep you to stay. They give you a million reasons not to go and none to stay, but they punish you if you try to do something with your life because they need you to stay a part of their plantation. And as long as they keep giving you enough to make you think that you're going to do something, you're going to keep voting for them because, well, you get basically free rent. You ain't got to work and you get your rent paid. You get your bills paid. You get free groceries. You get cash assistance. And you ain't got to do shit but keep popping out babies. Why wouldn't you keep supporting these people that want to keep giving you more money for doing this?
Right.
That's what she means by the Democratic plantation because these people fucking fall for it. Yeah. They like being prostitutes to their daddy, the government.
And you know what's in this book that I read though? It's like it's a black dude that sold us out. To be honest, in that book, it's a black dude, it's a black man that sold us out to be controlled by the government that's controlling us today. Long story short.
Well, that's not the only time in history that a black person has sold out black people. Man. Do you know the history and the origins of how slavery started?
That's
history is important. Slavery originated from the continent of Africa. That's commonly known, blah, blah, blah. It was in Europe and the United States. It was in Europe long before it came to the United States. Yes, slavery was in Europe long before the U.S. However, it was the Africans who first sold African people into slavery. Yep. It was the African slave traders who rounded up African criminals and then started rounding up just other people because the money was good at the time. But it started with criminals who were sold into slavery as a punishment for their crime. But then when they seen the money in it, they just started rounding up people the slave traders did. Now we move on to American history and slaves coming to America. Who was the first slave owner in America?
First slave owner.
What color was his skin? Let's go with that one instead.
I was a black dude.
It was a black man. A black man was the very first slave owner in this country. So a black man set the standard that other black people could be owned. So whose fault is it if you really want to get technical at the roots? Because it was a black person who said, this is okay to do because I'm going to show you that it's okay because I'm going to do it to my people first. So therefore, it's okay to do. So, I mean, it was wrong and I agree with all that, and I'm not trying to say that it needs to come back or blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's just that's actually how it went. I don't make this shit up. I just happen to know what the history is. But I mean, yeah, white people had slaves all over Europe and America initially too. And black people did help build this country. Hell, if it wasn't for the Africans, there wouldn't have been a United States when there was, because most of the original colonists that came over, damn near all of them died because of malaria. And that's why there was a need. That's why the African guy who was the first slave owner brought slaves from Africa, because he knew that the African people had a natural immunity to malaria because of how rampant everything malaria was in Africa. So that's why slaves were brought over to build everything, because malaria wasn't as big of a threat to them. But it was still a black man who was the first slave owner.
Yep. And I think that's where the book left out too. You just connected the dot on that shit, I feel like. Because the book left out what race was the person that fucking sold him out, but I just pictured he was black, because how would you know all this shit at that time? You feel me?
That was the first. Obviously, it was the Africans who started it, because the first slaves came out of Africa. They weren't taken from Africa. They were brought out of Africa by African slave traders. And then which was actually, like I said, it started as it was just the criminals who were sold into slavery because of their crimes. But it had to be like it wasn't like any petty crime or anything. It was more severe crimes or anything else that was the punishment. But then, like I said, the money was good. They realized how much they could get, and then it just went from there. So, I mean, did white people end up going and rounding up Africans and selling them into slavery? Yeah, there ended up being white slave traders, but it all started in Africa with the African people. It wasn't that white people just decided, oh, look, let's go grab these people and make them slaves because they look different. No, it was Africans bringing these slaves over, selling them to people. And then, of course, everybody else is going to jump on the bandwagon when these other people start seeing there's money to be made. Of course, people are going to jump on it.
You know what? When you speaking to that, though, it's like it ring a bell in my head. Like, I think someone was captured, but someone was brought over here and sold by other like queens, black queens and kings over there. It's sold over here to come over here. So like, if the bloodlines over here pretty much trickled down from being captured and being sold by their own people. So like, okay, by white people and by their own people. So it's like the trauma and all that trembles down to today, pretty much like how we are now and how we gotta be pandered and shit to now.
Well, you're being pandered to now because they want you to think that if you support Republicans, they're going to start making y'all be slaves again. There's actually laws in this country that make it a serious fucking offense to do that to anyone. Anyone.
Yep.
Black people have the same rights as a white person. The Mexicans have the same right as black people and white people. Asians have the same rights as Mexicans, blacks, and whites. I mean, everybody has the same rights in this country. That's the beauty of America. We're all viewed as Americans, and that's it. Which party is it that makes everything about race?
Democrats.
The Democratic Party are the ones that make every single issue about race. That's the Democrats. Why is everything got to be about race? Why can't we all just be Americans? Why does it got to be a black American or an Asian American? Why is it only a white person, not a white American, but everybody else is an American?
Exactly.
Why is it okay? Why is it okay for there to be things like Mexican pride and black pride and all this? But if a white person says they have white pride, they're racist because they're proud to be white, but everybody else is allowed to be proud of their skin color. I mean, the Democrats are the ones that say this shit. It's the Democrats who say that you can't, that this is the racist shit. But yet, it's only racist if it's a white person? Huh? How? Isn't that racist? Because aren't you then judging me based purely off the color of my skin alone? Isn't that the very fucking definition of racism?
they switching the racism phrase, like they trying to make racism be on white people now. Like
they try to say that only white people can be racist. Black people can't be racist towards white people.
but you see what they trying to do though? They trying to turn the phrase like we black people can be able to use the racism on the white person because they can call them racist. But the thing about you can't just call somebody racist for something they do or say. They gotta actually do some racist ass shit because like kill somebody.
They gotta actually do something racist for them to be racist.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. You gotta do something.
The thing of it is, whether you like it or not, agree with it or not, the thing about this country is people do have the right to be racist. Mm-hmm. They're idiots, and you have the right to not like them. You have the right to not associate with them. You have the right to call them a piece of shit like they are and all that. But they actually have the right to be racist if they wish to be, as long as they're not committing hate crimes and such. So if they want to say, hey, I don't like you because of the color of your skin, they have that right. Like it or not, that's the way it is. You get to have your opinion about them because they're white. So shouldn't they be allowed to do the same thing to you for the same reason? If they want to be that childish and petty, shouldn't they be allowed the same rights as you? You want things to be fair and equal. Shouldn't they be fair and equal all the way around?
All the fuck around.
Everybody has the same rights. You don't have to like somebody's opinions. You don't have to support the things they say. You don't have to agree with them, and that's the beauty of this country. But at the end of the day, we all have the same rights. So,
I'm not for sure. Changing that, and like
And you can't have one set of rules for certain people and different rules for other people, because then that actually is starting to get racist. Regardless, even if it's against white people, that's still racist as fuck. And you can't claim to be against racism if you're gonna be racist yourself.
Honestly, think that they shouldn't even be talking about racism because slavery is out here. Like slavery still exists and everybody's a slave. So
we're all a slave to the government.
Yeah, until we get the slavery out the way, racism can be like on hold for right now. You feel me? Because like no, they don't.
Well, see, like you have people like within the last 5-10 years or so, you have like Denzel and Morgan Freeman and shit and people like that, motherfuckers who have actually been around in the world, who are old enough to have actually seen some real racist type shit in their life. You know what I'm saying? Who will even say. Like Morgan Freeman said something along the lines of, so he was asked, do you see racism as a problem? No. Why not? Because it's not a problem anymore. How do you stop racism? Stop talking about it. Why do I have to be a black American and then somebody else a white American or whatever? Why can't we just both be Americans? And then it was, I think it was Denzel who said, you want racism to go away? Stop talking about it. You want race to stop being an issue? Stop talking about it. I think that's what it was. You want race to stop being an issue, not racism. But if you want race to stop being an issue in this country, stop talking about it. And that's factual. You want it to stop? Man, how many real examples of racism have you seen in the last 5 years? Let's be honest. How many real examples of racism have you seen in the last 5 years? Let's be real. Not made up racism, not where people think it's racist when it's really not. How many legit examples in the digital world we live in today where everybody's got a fucking camera and everything's on the internet? How many real examples of racism have you seen in the last 5 years?
I really ain't seen none, but it's like
if you have, it's a very small handful of amount, right?
Yeah, it's like the platforms push some things and they make it seem.
They make it seem. But then when you start fact checking it, you learn a lot of shit. And then it's not really racist when you start looking into things, right?
Yeah.
There's not many real instances of racism around. So how bad of a problem is how bad of a problem is racism in this country? Really, it really isn't that bad of an issue like they make it seem. They make it an issue by constantly fucking talking about it. You want it to go away? Stop talking about it. Believe it or not, most people in this country, the vast majority, the overwhelming majority, probably 305 of the 315, 320 million people in this country, for at least 300 million, I'd be willing to say, have no problems with with the color of a person's skin. We don't care about a person's skin color. We care about who they are as a person. Are they a piece of shit or are they a good person? If they're a piece of shit, we're going to call them a piece of shit. If they're a good person, we're going to associate ourselves with them, regardless of skin color.
Mm-hmm. Really, really. I seen like I was on Facebook and shit, right? I said something in the comments. It said something about some abortions and shit, and it was like I commented and said like if people just stop doing like having sex or people they don't want to fuck with, shit would change, and that's the truth. And she just said okay and shrugged her shoulders, and I'm like, she support abortions. How you gonna support abortions and I just tell you the truth? And that shit right there is like, is it okay and who cares? Like goddamn, it's like it's a long way to go with this stupid shit right here.
And that's just, I mean, and that's the type of shit it come back to. You can't argue with somebody who doesn't give a fuck about facts or logic or reason. Mm-hmm. You can't argue with somebody who has complete and utter disregard for human life. Man. You can't deal with people like that because there ain't no point.
Man, oh my God.
And that's the problem. That's a big problem right now, especially for these people who are affiliated with like Black Lives Matter and Antifa and that, all their members. The problem is they were never taught the value of human life. They were taught a complete and utter disregard for human life through, you know, the way they were brought up and things that they were subjected to, violence and all this shit, making it seem like human life didn't matter. And now they have a complete and utter disregard for human life. So that actually makes things even worse in this country because you don't have fathers in the home to teach you, you know, that life does matter, to where, you know, show you, that set that good example, that positive example for you to where you strive to do better in life and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's a recipe for disaster, and it's about to come to fruition.
You know what?
Listen, the outcome of this election, I think we're fixing to have a civil war in this country, regardless who wins the election.
That's what I'm thinking too. Oh my God!
Quick.
They giving us signs. They literally telling us before it even happened. They're like, "Oh, we give you warnings. Oh, this could be happening. This could happen, and that could happen." I'm like, "Don't shut the fuck up. Quit telling us that, because when it happened, we all gonna lose it."
Well, see, yeah, the thing of it is that everybody's gonna lose if it happens. But you got to keep in mind, right now, it's all these riots and all this destruction is taking place in Democrat cities, liberal controlled cities, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, they're gonna run out of liberal cities to destroy because they're gonna destroy them all, and then that's when things are gonna kick off for real. Because then they're going to try to go to these red states and these red cities, and they're going to try to pull the same shit. Only what they fail to realize is there's a lot of these people in these red areas. They support their right. They believe in their rights. They like their rights to be upheld, and that includes the Second Amendment. And when you go with a plastic fucking barrel as a shield and a Molotov cocktail, and these motherfuckers are 500 yards away with AR-15s and even more powerful rifles, you ain't gonna be nothing but a fucking body laying on the ground to these people. And they're not gonna play these games with you, and there is no reset button or there is no second life.
No, ain't no game. Ain't no game here.
And it's gonna end quick. Whenever they start going into red states, that's whenever it ends quick, because these people ain't gonna allow their property to be destroyed. They're gonna actually arm up and protect and defend their property. And when you come for their property, they're gonna fucking open. It'll end up being open. They'll end up opening fire.
And that, that's what I learned in this how the government works right here. That's what I learned. It said like that every government is like running their own classroom, and like the president is pretty much the principal of the entire motherfucking country. So like it trickles down to you need to run your classroom before.
And that's what it comes down to. Like everybody's trying to blame Trump for these riots and shit. Trump ain't the mayor and governor of these areas. This ain't Trump's fault. This is on these motherfuckers. This is the Democrats. Trump's offered to send the National Guard in multiple times. He's offered to send the federal agencies in to stop it. These people are telling him no by law. by law, the only way he can force these people to allow the National Guard to go in is if he does the Insurrection Act, if he takes the Insurrection Act option. But there's a lot of downside to him doing that too. He's trying to avoid the Insurrection Act, so he's waiting on these people to ask for help. Look at Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kenosha, Wisconsin had a few days of violent riots. The people of that area were fucking getting tired of it. Real quickly, the Democratic mayor told Trump, I need your help. What happened? It ended immediately because Trump sent the National Guard in. And there's been no riots or destruction in Kenosha since. Amazing how you got over 100 straight days in Portland, Oregon when the Democrats are in control. But when Trump's allowed to get involved, it ends literally overnight. Literally ends overnight. Kind of weird, whenever it's all Trump's fault.
That's crazy. Look at this right here. And this right here is the fucking, this literally shows you right here, the states is probably fucked up. The most Democratic states right here.
Yep.
Like what the fuck? Seattle, over here, Washington, all that. All on the ends.
Philadelphia, Seattle, New York, California, Oregon. Let's see, Baltimore. Let's see, you got the shit popping off in St. Louis. Missouri's red, but St. Louis is blue. St. Louis is about the only blue county or the only blue area in Missouri, if you actually look at Missouri's map. So,
oh shit, because it's like East St. Louis pretty much coming. Yeah, I understand. But damn, I didn't know that one. Damn.
Yeah. Even in Chicago, Illinois is blue. But if you look at Illinois, if you actually look at an electoral vote of Illinois or a vote count of Illinois, you'll see Illinois is pretty much all red except the Chicago area. That's the only blue area in Illinois, but Illinois is always a blue state. Because of Chicago alone, the whole state of Illinois is blue. Because of one city, the whole state's blue.
Oh, because of Chicago, because of the population, huh?
Because the population of Chicago, yeah.
Oh my God. Yup, you are fucking right.
I don't lie about shit. I'm honest and direct about shit.
They out here. This don't make no sense, dog. This ain't making no sense.
Pretty much all red except Chicago, like I said.
That hurts.
Go look at California. Go look at an electoral map of California like that. Go look at a map of California, the exact same type of map of California. I bet you're gonna be surprised. I bet you'd be surprised as fuck if you go look at a map of California. Right now, go look at an electorate map of California. Watch how that shit look.
Oh man.
Seriously, check one out real quick and watch how that bitch look. You gonna be like, holy shit, really? Yeah, it's like that. California's got a lot more red than blue, but because LA is blue, guess what the state is? Go look at the state of New York. Look at how much red's in the state of New York by district. Look at New York.
You got the presidential.
New York's got a lot of red too.
The presidential, or are you looking at the
presidential? Presidential, yeah.
All right, let's see.
By county, you want to look at it by county or district or whatever it is, like you did with Illinois.
All right, here, like this.
Yeah, look at all that red in Cali.
All the red.
All that red. But the most populated areas are all blue, so the state's blue. Now look at New York.
Oh man, what the fuck is that fake ass blues all blue state? It's like they mixing it up over here.
Dark blue areas, the darkest blue area is LA.
Oh, that's dark.
In the LA area.
Damn, they racist as fuck.
But look at New York.
Damn, and they was Democrat.
Yep, because of New York City.
What the fuck?
So look at it this way. I'll be honest with you. You know why Democrats want the popular to vote to decide the outcome of elections, and they want to eliminate the Electoral College? You know how Democrats say the Electoral College needs to go, the popular vote should be all that matters? You want to know why they say that?
Why is that?
If you take the population of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago, those three cities alone would decide who the president is if only those three cities would have a say in who is the president of the United States if it were only done by the popular vote. Period.
Well,
only three cities would matter. Everybody else in the country's vote wouldn't mean jack shit. Just
Dude,
3 cities.
they'll now literally make everybody quiet as fuck. As
What color are all 3 of those cities? Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. See
Blue.
why Democrats? Do you see why the Democrats want to get rid of the Electoral College? What color are all 3 of those cities that would be the only ones who have a say if it was only the popular vote? They're all 3 blue. That's why Democrats want it gone. It's all the fucking scam. They make everything they claim it's racist or whatever else, all the fucking play on your emotions to scam the fuck out of you.
We don't need that population. We don't need that population as much.
No, because clearly the people in New York, Chicago, and LA are fucking idiots because look at how their states are fucking, or their cities are ran. Clearly they're all too fucking stupid to decide who's the president, so it don't need to be just up to those 3 cities. There ain't a fucking brain between the 3 cities and all the population except for the people who vote fucking red.
Yeah. They fucking everybody.
I'm sorry, but I actually supported Bill Clinton. I was a Bill Clinton fan. I thought Bill Clinton was a damn good president, and I didn't even give a fuck about the fact that he got his dick sucked in the Oval Office. I didn't care. His marital problems were between him and his wife. I mean, granted, he maybe shouldn't have lied about it like he did. That was probably his dumbest thing he did. But dude got a blowjob. Okay, who gives a shit? Presidents still want to get his dick sucked like every other guy do. It's just, it's being a guy. I mean, it should have been his wife under the desk, yeah, but
Yeah.
Dude, you know what I'm saying? Dude, just being a guy, but
and that's worse than Trump.
Yeah, but I mean,
Trump, man.
I supported Bill Clinton and everything. I couldn't vote for him. I wasn't old enough, but I was Bill Clinton. I supported Bill Clinton. So obviously, I'm not just some, lifelong Republican or blah 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 type of shit. I'm actually from Illinois, believe it or not, born and raised in Illinois. Blue as fuck, Illinois, where I'm from, born and raised. But I don't support the Democrats now. I support the Republicans. Because if you look at logic and reason, and if you have any kind of idea of what right and wrong is at all, you can't support the Democrats.
You really can't. You really understand. And then they go back and forth with the words. Like one at that time, like back then, Joe Biden said this. Now he's saying this.
Yeah.
So, dude, we gotta understand he did have.
Depends on what the polling shows is what Biden's going to tell you. Is Biden going to do anything he says? Look at it this way. Biden's been in office for 47 fucking years. If he knew how to solve all these problems like he claims he does, why didn't they get solved when he was Obama's vice president? Why didn't he solve any of this shit during his 47 years in office? Why hasn't he been pushing to the public all this shit for the last 47 years if he's known it all this time? Y'all think you ain't getting scammed again? You've been being scammed by this motherfucker for almost 50 years, and y'all think he's going to be honest and real with you now? Stupid ass people.
I believe I was stupid enough to vote for Obama. I voted for him, but I was forced by my mom. But like at the same time, I wanted to do it too because like it's Obama, yada yada, and I was like, everybody was right up the height, and I didn't even know who the vice president was. I didn't know who he was. I'm like kind of just now like finding out who the fuck he was now.
Yeah,
president. Like you was vice president during Obama. You feel me? Like I didn't know this. The fuck. What you running for president now for?
Well, see, and the thing is I didn't support Obama because I'm from Illinois. Hold on, there's a train going by about a half mile away from my house, but because I live on hills, it's loud as fuck. Are you done, train? Or as soon as I start talking, are you going to go again? Okay. I'm from Illinois, right? Like I said, born and raised in Granite City, Illinois, which is about 15 minutes outside of St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. So that's where in Illinois where I'm from is in Granite City, Illinois, Madison County, Illinois. Right? Well, I knew how Chicago was. I knew how the area Obama was responsible for was. Obama was nothing but a community organizer, and he wasn't even good at that. Based off of what I knew of Chicago from seeing Chicago with my own fucking eyes and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So clearly this man who's only ever been a community organizer, whose community is as disorganized as they fucking get, Clearly, if he can't even keep his community in line, he's not going to be able to keep the country in line. Now, I couldn't support it because I didn't buy into the fucking hype. See, I'm not going to vote for somebody just because it's the first black president or because it's the first woman. I'm not voting for somebody because of that. That's just stupid as fuck. I'm only going to vote with a motherfucker I support and agree with because I think they're trying to do good for all people.
Man, that's what got a lot of people too. The title of being the first one.
All the hype. But he didn't live up to the hype because, like I said, what did he do for the black community? Name one thing. I'll wait. I got all night.
Man, so funny, man.
I'll wait.
That's true. I got me going, man.
I mean, see that wrist X? I got plenty of time according to my wrist X.
That time says I have unlimited.
Yep, that wrist X says I got all the time in the world, baby. I'll wait.
On that note, we gonna end this right here because we gotta keep this going. We gotta keep doing this. This shit, we gonna start some shit doing this shit.
You know what though? The fucked up thing of it is, you got to look at it like this: we're sitting here bashing the Democrats and all this, and I'm a white guy, but yet I'm sitting here having this discussion with a black guy who's agreeing with me. And yeah, this is gonna cause fucking problems for people.
A lot of them, man. So I was like, hey,
this is gonna be controversial as fuck because we agree with this shit, and I'm sitting here bashing the Democrats, talking to a black man. This is gonna be awesome for people. Some heads are gonna explode.
And I honestly believe, like, I'm not with the Democrat or Republican. I feel like I'm found another party. It's like Meritocrat. Well, I'm with the Meritocrat.
And see, I don't necessarily support the Democrats or Republicans either because I think they're all full of shit, to be honest. I support America. So because I support America, I support Donald Trump because let's look at facts. Donald Trump was never called racist in his life until he ran against Hillary Clinton. That was the first time in his life he was ever labeled racist. Yeah. You can find video of Donald Trump his entire public life, and one thing you can never say about him is you cannot say he doesn't love this country because this man's talking about his love of this country and his love for showing respect and love for the flag for his entire public fucking life. Clearly, this man was a billionaire, and he's a billionaire married to a fucking supermodel. He's 70 some odd years old, and he's a grandpa. He left all that. He left that lifestyle to try to help all of us. And y'all think he's not trying to look out for us? Why the fuck is he there then? He doesn't need any more. He was more famous as Donald Trump than he ever will be as President Trump. Far more famous as Donald Trump. He's a billionaire, so he doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the power. He's a billionaire. He doesn't need the fame. He's got a fucking supermodel wife, and he's Donald fucking Trump, one of the most known names in the world. Yeah. Clearly, he's trying to fucking improve your life. That's why I do support the Republicans now, because I know how shit really works. And if we don't support the Republican Party as a whole, then Donald Trump can't get shit done, because as we see, when Democrats have control of the House, Trump ain't able to do half the shit he's trying to do because they stop him. So if Republicans have the White House, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, Trump can actually get shit done. So because of that alone, so Trump can get shit done, I'm straight Republican for me. Period. I don't care if I don't like the person or not. It's straight Republican, so Trump can actually get shit done. Trump's gonna make sure these people ain't trying to fuck us over, and I'm sure he's gonna do. I mean, are things gonna get by him? Yeah, I'm sure they are. Is there gonna be some backroom deals made that are bad for people and good for these motherfuckers? Their corruptness? Yeah, it's gonna happen. But is Trump gonna do all he can to stop it and expose it when he finds it? Sure the fucking right he will, because look at how he's ran his company all his life. He doesn't like corruption. I mean, he uses loopholes in the law like every other fucking businessman on the planet does. So has he gotten over on people? Yeah, every businessman in the world's gotten over on people. It's the law, and it's set up to favor the businessmen. So obviously they're going to use it. But has he ever outright fucking been out to get people? Has he ever, deceitfully tried to get? Nah, you can't find proof for that because it ain't true. He ain't never done it. Mm-hmm. The man just used the law that's available to him. That sounds to me like a law-abiding citizen, which seems to me the type of person we should have as president.
Oh, right. And if you don't know by now, America is a business. It's
Yep.
a fucking business. America.
Why do you think Trump's got so much done? Because he treats this country like a fucking business. He's
Yeah.
looking at things like business deals. He's working on trade deals. No, that's not a trade deal. That's just another business deal. This is just another day in a board meeting with business investors trying to get this business deal done so I can build this country, or so I can build this building in this, build this building right here, type of shit. That's all it is to Donald Trump, and look at how fucking successful he is at it.
Yeah, doing it right.
Look at how much results he's gotten out of it. Because you got to remember, all these politicians, liberals and Republicans, Democrats and Republicans both, every time they go to get elected, I'm going to go in there and do this, this, and this, and fight for this, this, and this. When they get in office, you don't hear shit. Donald Trump out there telling you, I'm going to go do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. What did he do? He got in fucking office and he started doing every fucking thing he said he was going to do. For the first time in my life at 39 years, I'll be 40 years old in February. For the first time in my life, I can actually say I get to see a president keep all his promises.
And you know what's crazy? He telling people, he's showing people. I don't like being in the dark when it comes to a president no more.
Nope. And he's making all this shit. He wants all this shit declassified and all in the public, all for the public to see. He's telling them now, declassify all of it, that everything that can be declassified, declassify and let the public see it. They have the right to know. And he's right, we do. They work for us. The president of the United States, he is the commander-in-chief. But the commander-in-chief works for the people, just like all the rest of them do. They only have power because we let them. We are their boss, not the other way around. They treat us like they're our bosses. No, motherfucker, we're your boss. Like the Democrats like to say, this is a democracy. No, we do not. This country is not a democracy. This country is a constitutional republic. There's a fucking difference. We don't have a democracy here.
Think about it. The words are so, they just study the words, just look into it. When I see Democrat, you think of a demon or demo. Like demo is demon. But if you say Republican, you're thinking of republic. You want to rebuild your republic type shit. It's like that's the word semantic and the meanings behind it and the actions behind it are totally reversed. Like they try to reverse this shit.
And when you think about it further, democracy, a full democracy is the majority vote. So that means if you indoctrinate people to be liberals, that means only liberal ideas will ever be all that's allowed to be discussed because that's how a democracy works. So democracy, whereas in a constitutional republic, no political power or party gets to have absolute rule. We have a constitution that gives us rights from our creator God, which cannot be alienated by man. So in a constitutional republic, you're more protected. Republican, constitutional republic. They're more so looking after the Constitution and wanting to protect and defend the Constitution. It's Democrats who feel the Constitution is nothing more than a piece of paper that's old and outdated. Well, that old and outdated piece of paper keeps you fucking free and safe and protected. Plus, you got to remember, too, people, the Constitution, it's not there to protect the government. It's there to protect you from the government.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's the only thing standing between you and the government dictating every fucking thing you do. And y'all fools want to get rid of it? Are you stupid?
Bill of Rights. Man, yeah, what the fuck? Man. They try to say racist white man made it. We living by that shit. What the fuck you mean? They made it, but we gotta live by that shit. Don't try to destroy it and make anarchy. Because people take advantage of that type of shit.
Well, see, the thing is, in a sense, they're not really wrong, but they're not really right. They're not really wrong because the Constitution was first drafted during a time when slavery was allowed. Because even if you look at the Constitution and the earlier amendments, a black person was only viewed as 3/5 of a person. So therefore, black people couldn't vote and everything else. But black people were slaves at that time primarily, and that's because they were criminals. So therefore, that's part of what it was. But so, I mean, that's where they're kind of right. But it's also out of context because they forget that it was white people who freed the slaves. it was white people who added the constitutional amendments that not only freed the slaves, but then also gave slaves the right to vote. It was also white people who did who passed the Civil Rights Act in the 60s to desegregate and end all the bullshit. So I mean, it might have been racist. It might have been white men who were around the time of slavery who made that document, but it was also white men that made sure everybody else, all the minority groups that could ever be here, were also protected by that same document that those racist white men made. So clearly they couldn't have been too racist if the racist white men who made the document also made sure that black people, Hispanics, Asians, everybody else was also protected by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what? Now they put everybody under it. So it's like everybody under living by the same constitutional rights and all that now. So it's like we all under it. So now you want to be a part, we're under it. We could have made it's like they should have made their own. I feel like they should have made their own shit back in the day. Instead of trying to be a part of some shit. But you know, it happened.
The founding fathers, the thing of it is, the founding fathers did do their own thing. Nowhere in the world was there a constitutional republic before the United States. Nowhere. We were the first. We were an experiment. Our governing rules, we were actually under the rule of Great Britain, subject to the king. We just didn't like the tyranny that the king was subjecting us to. The people at the colonists were being taxed heavily by the crown, and they were getting no representation, no real anything from the crown. They were basically left on their own, but they still had to give all this money to the crown, and they got tired of living under those rules. So is what they did is they said, yeah, you know what? No, we're not living under those rules. We're going to make up our own because, well, what they're doing isn't right. God says we have rights, and they don't let us have these rights that God has given to us. So we're going to make our own rules to include the rights that God gave us as part of these rules. And then they went ahead and there was a Revolutionary War, there was a Declaration of Independence, there was a Constitution, and there she went.
Yeah. That shit crazy, man.
I'm a history fanatic. Sorry, I know my history.
Hey, I like history too. Shit, that's the only thing I like. You know, I like talking about it.
And the thing of it is I actually encourage people to fact check things. If somebody tells you something, even if there's any doubt at all, or even if it's something you don't know, you always fact check things, because you don't just blindly trust anybody, because people are liars, people are idiots, people think they know shit when they really don't. Always fact check everything. Fact check everything. Just that way it covers your ass when you do, and you should always cover your ass.
Oh, so be on that shit. So I showed you going to fact check everything. I'm like, damn, that's fucking for real. How is this happening? And I'm like, I follow the trail. It's like, yeah, follow the money trail. I follow the money trail, and I follow the trail.
That's what it is. You follow the money, even if it's not literal money. The phrase "follow the money" still applies. Follow the money, and it's amazing what you really uncover. They got people so fucking brainwashed, thinking so much shit that ain't reality. It's not even funny. And when people wake up and see the fucking what's really going on, then that's whenever they're like, "What the fuck?"
Man, yeah. That plantation shit real, man.
Like me and you sitting here joking and clowning about shit that a lot of people would say I'm racist for even daring to discuss, let alone joke about. I should agree with all this shit, let alone not dare make fun of it. But me and you sitting here clowning on it. I mean, yeah. People are gonna get salty because here I am, a white guy, clowning about the type of shit I'm clowning about, and people are gonna get butthurt about it because I'm a white guy, and then they're gonna start calling you names because, well, how dare you sit there and joke around with this white guy when he's saying all this shit? You're black, don't you support black people? Blah blah blah, type of stupid shit.
Hey, can't nobody get to me on who I support. I support myself or anything. Right. If you're supporting nothing positive, trying to move something positive, get the fuck out of the way, because if you try to come at somebody because they talking positive, trying to fix the situation, but you be trying to be out there trying to be a bitch about some shit the whole time and shit. It's the difference between that shit. So I guess it's better to fix some shit than to go on damage some shit and try to fix shit like a female. But
well, see, being real though, also being real, controversy sells, right? And if controversy sells, and we can create enough controversy being a white guy and a black guy talking the shit we talking, and we can get a big enough platform created for you, then we can actually get into some real fathers' right shit and hopefully reach more people that way too. So, I mean, sometimes you just got to start from the bottom and work your way up. I mean, like it's just started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
Yep. Hey, all do is take time to do this shit, cause hey, you got all kind of information. So it's like
Hey, I'm willing to be controversial because I just don't give a fuck. What's somebody gonna do?
I don't give a fuck
Call me
either.
a name? Okay, call me a name. Big fucking whoop. I've been called worse, I'm sure.
I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, you feel me? I'm worried about bigger things.
Like I said, ain't what's somebody gonna do? Call me a name? Okay, ain't nobody gonna come put their hands on me. I mean, if you do, that's your fucking fault and your stupidity for doing that.
Yeah, big time.
Just know that I do exercise my Second Amendment rights. So you're doing that at your own risk and your own peril.
Yeah, free will, don't
I
you?
know the rules of engagement. I know the rules of engagement, and I know the laws very well in the state of Missouri where I live. Missouri is a castle doctrine state. So, I mean, hey, do so at your own risk if you're that stupid and brave. I mean, you might think you're brave, but you're really just fucking stupid. So, I mean, hey.
Hey, that shit. Hey, it's always a backup. So,
I mean, I ain't trying to get stupid or anything like that, but I mean, I'll talk about the controversial topics. I don't give a fuck because, well, I have the right to. Period.
Exactly. Self-defense. I ain't never been just like beat somebody and just be beating somebody. No. We ain't
Plus, I mean, where I live, I don't live in a liberal dominated area or anything, so it's not like there's a lot of people who actually know me who are going to be that offended by things I say. Because like I said, I'm not racist or anything, so I'm not going to cross any lines or anything, and I'm respectful, so it's not like I'm going to be bashing people, individually or anything else. Do I think that liberals are dumb for voting for Biden? Well, yeah, but only because I think they're refusing to accept fact because they don't want to, because they've just been told that Trump's so bad and that's all they know. So, I mean, I think it's lack of education, really, not that they're actually stupid. I just think they're dumb on the subject. So I'm going to call them dumb or stupid on the subject because they are.
You don't like being called that. I don't like being.
You don't like being called that, then do something about it and don't be dumb on a subject. Don't be stupid to a subject. Don't be ignorant to a subject if you don't want to be called ignorant to a subject. If you don't want to be called ignorant to a subject and you don't want to learn about the subject, then it's simple. Don't talk about it. If people start talking about it, oh, well, I don't know enough about that subject to even comment. I'm just going to abstain from the conversation, or I don't even want to be a part of the conversation. It's real simple. You have that option.
Big option. It's free will not to involve yourself in shit.
And like, typically, I just let it go. It just goes for me. It just goes in one ear and out the other. People can hate on me all they want. I don't give a fuck. I'm a guy. I've been a victim of the anti-family court system for years now. You ain't gonna bother me by saying shit to me. It's just you ain't gonna bother me. You ain't gonna cause me to lose any sleep by hating on me. I'm gonna laugh at you. I'll agree with you. I'll smile, blow you a kiss, and be on my fucking way. And I'm still gonna be the same happy motherfucker while you're still a miserable little cunt. So I'm good either way.
All right. Like I'm just thinking, like the enemy is the courts, but the enemy also is going to help you in some situations because it got no choice.
It depends on what's you're in court for, if you're going to be the enemy or not. Even if you're in court for a bad reason, provided you know the law and your rights, you don't have to necessarily be the enemy. It just depends on the facts of the matter. But as far as it goes, Trump is one that's actually willing to try and do things for people to help people in their life and try to get rid of some of this bullshit that's caused so many problems in this country for years. Like the amount of black people in prison, the black population, as far as incarceration rates go, is proportionately higher for blacks than it is any other ethnic group in this country. Well, Trump's trying to correct the mistakes that were made with certain things that were done, like the 94 crime bill by Clinton and Biden. Trump's trying to right some of these wrongs. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make things to where it's balanced and fair for all Americans. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's why he needs the support right now, because if we can get to where, look at it this way, you can actually verify this. You can actually find video. Trump was actually starting to address child support issues and stuff like that early on in his presidency.
I remember
But
that.
shortly after it started, shortly after he started bringing it up, that's when all that Russia shit got mentioned and brought up and started. Everything went away. Trump had to deal with all that, so he quit talking about child support and all that because he had to focus on all that bullshit. Now imagine if we can get Trump to where he doesn't have to deal with all that because it's all Republican controlled. Then maybe this motherfucker can address child support again because then he don't have to worry about a bullshit impeachment investigation.
Right, gotta get that shit out of the way. Damn. He was talking about that shit too. I remember that shit. I remember like, what happened to that shit, man? And I'm like, damn. Then Russia, I'm like, damn, they still in Russia.
It all went away. If you look at things that all that talk, all that shit he was trying to start talking about child support, all disappeared with the whole Russia bullshit. That's when a lot of things stopped getting done by Trump because he ain't been able to. He's been dealing with that shit ever since, pretty much. So I mean, like I said, if we vote straight red and let the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the White House, then maybe we can actually Trump can get shit done to where he can actually start making some reforms in some areas that are really going to fucking matter to everybody's daily lives. Like child support reform, child custody reform, type of shit like that we can push for.
Right.
Because Democrats ain't going to let it happen. Do you think the Democrats are going to let him do child support reform or child custody reform when they want to take men out the home? Fuck no, they ain't gonna let them do that. That ain't gonna happen as long as Democrats have any branch of the government. Fuck no, it ain't gonna happen.
Ignore it like the motherfucker. Just ignore it. Like
executive, legislative. They have the Democrats have the House, which is part of the legislative branch. But as long as they have any part of the executive or legislative branch, then even if they have the judicial branch by having Democrat majority on the Supreme Court, nothing like that will ever be allowed to happen. So it's got to be all the Supreme Court right now is Republican controlled, as long as John Roberts actually upholds the Constitution. So you got the Supreme Court is red, you got the White House is red, you got the Senate is red. All we need now is the House to flip red, the House of Representatives, and we can actually get shit done. Impactful things like possibly child support and child custody reform.
Yeah, some Republicans are they own that shit. They own that same page with I don't know about child support, but they own the same page with the family reform type shit.
Yeah, and that's what it is. They want more fathers to be able to be a part of their children's lives. It's family reform. And family reform is going to also have to incorporate child support because if men get more rights to their children, you can't have a man having his kid 50% of the time and still have 50% of his paycheck getting taken for child support. How's he supposed to take care of that kid for the half the time he's got the kid then? It can't happen. It's impossible. So child support reform is going to have to be a part of it. Period. We just need to get a man a chance to get it done.
Oh, me, right.
So if you're trying to be an advocate for fathers' rights, you need to support straight Republican so that way Trump can actually address the fathers' rights issues. If you don't do it, if the Republicans don't do it, if they get voted in and they don't do it, and they get on some bullshit, it's simple. In 2 years, flip it back blue. I'd even be the first one to support that if they get put in there talking about they're going to do family reform and they don't do it. No, then obviously they just some bullshit liars like the rest of them. Get them the fuck out of there. It's simple, real simple.
I'd just go ahead and create a whole new party and just do some reckless shit. I don't care. Like it's just like, goddamn, ain't nobody gonna fix this shit. Like,
well, and in theory, creating a new party and all that sounds well and good, but the problem is you have two mainstream parties with a lot of money behind them. In order to start a new party, you're going to not only need a lot of money, but you're also going to have to start getting a lot of support. And the problem is going to come into where which side are you going to pull that support from? Because you can't just be straight down the middle, because then you're not going to pull people from either side like you need to. So in some areas, you're going to have to bounce to both sides and kind of be a blend of everything. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there are certain topics you would have to support. One, you would have to be pro-American because, well, obviously the people want somebody who's pro-American. For another, you have to be willing to tackle and address the taboo topics: child support, prison reform, criminal justice reform, all that type of shit. All these things that are taboo, you have to be willing to tackle these and address these outright and publicly at every possible opportunity. That's the only way you garner any support.
Yeah. Straight up for sure. Oh man. Oh, we gonna get more on this shit, man. We gotta get more on this shit. It's about 2 hours on this.
Hey, I'm dying to have these conversations with you.
This has been fun. We got so much more information. We got a lot more information we ain't even talked on yet. That's just the first.
Oh, I know, but like I said, we can start clowning and get controversial just to have people listening to us because of our controversial topics, and then we can get into the most controversial at all, which is child custody and child support.
Yeah, topics it don't never stop. It's so much to go.
Plus, I mean, I've actually been here lately. I've actually been seriously debating on starting my own Facebook group for fathers' rights.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seriously debating on starting my own group because all these other groups are on some bullshit for the most part. They all on some fraud scam type shit. They ain't trying to tell men real shit. They tell you just enough to keep you from royally fucking yourself, but they don't ever tell you enough to actually help you get the visitation rights or the access to your children you deserve. So I'm actually debating on starting my own fucking group and putting real shit up there.
Yeah, I've been definitely seeing that, noticing. I'm like, damn, nobody got nowhere yet. Surprise! I've been seeing Cash. I seen Cash Jackson in front of the White House. I seen that. I'm like, still no attention, huh? Still no roar or nothing.
Well, the thing of it is though, like with Cash, I mean, I support what he's doing and what he's trying to do. I really do, to the fullest extent. The man's trying to bring awareness to this shit. He's trying to cause change. Mm-hmm. All admirable. But at the same time, man, look, you think you're going to go to the president and he's going to be able to get this done right now? No, Democrats ain't going to let this shit happen. That's just a waste of time. We need to make sure we got enough people in that can actually get it done first, okay? But then, but one way to do it outside of that, sue the fuck out of these people. You have legal grounds for a lawsuit. You have the courts who are supposed to give you the presumption of fitness, meaning the courts are required by the Supreme Court to assume both parents are equally fit parents unless evidence is presented otherwise. If they don't do that, they're in violation of your protected rights. If they're in violation of your protected rights, that's deprivation of rights. And if it's by the courts, it's deprivation of rights under color of law. That means you have a civil action against them for 42 USC 1983, which is deprivation of rights under color of law. You file the lawsuit. It's going to go ultimately probably to the state Supreme Court. If they still rule against you, then that's when you ended up taking it to the U.S. Supreme Court. And if you cite federal case law for the for your custody matter and they violate your rights, it's real easy when it gets to the Supreme Court, because if you have 50 different Supreme Court cases that you've cited and they violate your rights, do you think the Supreme Court's going to rule against you, overturning 50 of their previous rulings? You ain't fucking special like that.
Man.
Sorry, but you really ain't, Cash. That's where they're going to not saying he's not, but I'm talking like as far as the Supreme Court's concerned, they're not going to overturn over 100 years of case law just because the state of Illinois wants to fuck him over. You know what I'm saying? No, they're going to fuck the state of Illinois and say, no, you don't get away with doing this shit because his rights are actually protected.
Fucked up, man. And I'm trying to expose that dumbass Illinois shit, but at the same time, it ain't no fighting. It ain't no fighting unless you got voices. So.
And that's the problem I keep running into is not enough men. A lot of men who spend the time trying to learn their rights and the laws, they fuck up. They fuck up from the beginning, and they'll fuck up for the first few years. What I mean by that is they spend all their time learning local case law and shit like that. Well, don't do that. Fuck your local case law. Use federal case law. Use U.S. Supreme Court case law. Why? Because the lower courts cannot rule against it just because they have a different opinion. They actually have to have a legal reason to rule against it. Short of that, you have an appeal that'll get overturned, And if it doesn't, you can keep pursuing it to the higher levels. And eventually it's going to get overturned because your rights are protected. State case law allows them to get away with violating your rights, whereas federal case law does not. But yet most men keep using state case law. Don't. And I don't have a big enough platform to reach enough people to tell them about federal case law and to educate them to the federal codes and shit like that the courts have to follow the federal laws. So that's why mostly why I'm debating on starting my own Facebook group. That way I can actually let men know what these laws are, explain to them how it's applied to their situation if it is, or at least give them the enough of an explanation to where in a file to where they can go read it to where they understand it enough to where they can apply it to their case successfully type of shit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'd like to find one of the most recognized experts on family law as far as an attorney goes in this country. I'd like to have a conversation with that motherfucker because I think I'd embarrass that motherfucker.
Most definitely.
I think I'd embarrass them on the subject of law when it comes to family law. I think I'd embarrass even the leading expert in family law in this country. I think I'd embarrass.
You bet tell me what. I'm honestly believe that shit. Like, you definitely sure. 100% sure. I've been looking into this shit. Man, I keep going on more subjects. I gotta create a goal though. But I looked into this shit. Like, it's a rabbit hole. It's so deep, and it's like the stuff they freaking go off of be from people. Like, it'd be like little bit, like off of what somebody else ratio or research on some shit. It'd be off of their research, but it'd be a little portion they'll go off of, and they'll just do their own little fucking thing off of a portion off of that shit. I noticed that, and it's like, okay, this person that y'all went off of got a lot more information, but I went off that little portion of the information and made it worldwide. So it's like, okay. All right.
Well, and that's just it. There's not enough good information because people want to keep posting about local this, local that. You do realize that you don't have to use local laws and case laws in a matter. The lower courts are under a legal obligation to uphold federal law. That means if federal law says 2 + 2 is 4, but state law says 2 + 2 is 5, guess what 2 + 2 equals? 4. Period. No matter what the state says, it only equals 4 according to the law, because the supremacy clause to the United States Constitution says that the Constitution and federal law are the highest laws of the land. Period. Howlett v. Rose, the Supreme Court case from 1990 from the U.S. Supreme Court, says that the lower courts must uphold federal law even if they disagree with it because of their own personal opinion. They still have to uphold and follow federal law. Period. Why use state and local? Use federal. Use federal. They have to uphold it. They have less option for opinion when you use federal case law. State case law allows them to give their opinion. Federal does not.
Federal overgoes. Yeah, it's like I noticed there's 2 courts too. We're gonna do the next video. We're gonna do is about this fucking the federal and state, the difference between them two. Because before I got on here with you, I was watching the video and it was like it was the federal and the state, 2 different courts, but people mostly go to the state. So I'm like, damn, okay. So it's like nobody talks about the federal though, and people barely go to the federal.
Well, see, with the federal courts, the federal courts don't deal with matters like the lower courts do. The federal courts only deal with matters of constitutionally protected rights or questions of the Constitution and federal law. If it's not a constitutional right or a federal law, the federal government and the federal courts will not hear it at all. The U.S. Supreme Court might hear a matter from family law, but it's going to go through the lower courts, then the state Supreme Court, and then eventually it'll get to the U.S. Supreme Court, but that's through the normal process. In order to take a matter to the federal court, there has to be specific conditions that are met. Like, for example, there has to be a violation of constitutionally protected rights that gives grounds to have file a federal action. If there's federal laws that have been violated, say like the courts, you can actually prove that they're in violation of federal law. Then you actually have grounds to move your matter to the federal court, citing the violations of federal law as the reason for the federal courts to hear it. And then they're more likely to hear the matter if you actually cite it correctly. But you have to be very careful and everything like that whenever you try to do your do anything at the federal court, because if you don't cite it right, they're going to reject it and send it back to the and tell you basically you have to take it back to the lower courts, because you have to cite it correctly, because the federal courts are only going to deal with specific matters, constitutional matters or federal law matters. That's all the federal courts deal with. They don't deal with nothing else. However, parental rights are constitutionally protected rights. So when it comes to those being violated, you do have grounds for the federal removal.
Man, yeah.
It's all in what you know. Educate, like I say, education is key.
Yeah.
Period. Education is key.
You definitely see that shit, for sure. We gonna get this good shit going some more though. I'm gonna holler at you later, cause I know my girl want me to go. Want me to hurry get the
Yeah,
fuck off.
you better get off. If your girl wants you to go, you better get off her before you get that ass whooped.
Right?
Can't make the girl mad. Nah, you can't do that now. That ain't no good.
I know, right?
All right, yeah. Next time you want to do a video or something, you want me to come on, man, just hit me up and I'll come on here. I'll come on here and bullshit with you and talk about this shit with you, talk about the law and shit with you. I don't mind.
Hey,
I like educating men, because the more men that learn the truth about this shit, the less men that'll hopefully get victimized by the system. So I'm down to always try and educate men of their rights and shit like that. Not just men. Okay, if there's any females listening, I say men, but if you're a female who's victimized by the anti-family court system, I will gladly help you too. It's just primarily men who are victimized. So it really is overall a men's issue. That's why I say I help. That's why I say men or man instead of people, because, well, that's just mainly what it is. But there are a few females I help out, I talk to and stuff to try and teach the law to and help out and stuff in that regard too. So it's not only guys. I mean, I'll help anybody if I can. So, but yeah.
It's a big majority right now, though. It's like
it's mostly men. It's a men's issue. Yeah, that's why I say men. But I just want to make it clear. Nah, if a female needs help, nah, I got you too, girl. Don't worry about it. I'll help educate you to the law and your rights too. Don't worry. Male or female, it don't matter. It don't matter. I see you as a victim of the anti-family courts, and I'm gonna do what I can to help you out. Period.
On me. That's it. Then we go. Hey, gonna close it out. Hey, I just want to give you your flowers now, man. I ain't gonna lie. I want to give you your flowers now for everything you fucking know, man. This is wow. We gonna keep doing this shit for sure.
Just let me know, man.
All right, got you. All right, I'll check with you later, man.
All right, man. Have a good night, brother.
All right, you too.
All right, later.
All right, later. All right, I'm gonna check with y'all later, man. That was a good ass motherfucking show. In 2 hours. But all the information we got is legit. Check with the man, Daniel. He's got all the good shit. If y'all like the video, subscribe, and all the other shit, share if you want to. We got more shit on the way. This is the fucking nightmare. Or it's a deadbeat nightmare. Cause it's the first video. And we doing this shit. Fuck all the other shit. We come another way with this direction. So it's a fucking deadbeat nightmare.